Ever wondered how Middle Eastern sheiks went from average Joes to some of the wealthiest people on the planet? It's like they hit the jackpot overnight. Think billion-dollar car collections and super yachts worth hundreds of millions. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? But here's the real story. Just a century ago, these sheiks were living pretty ordinary lives. So how did their fortunes skyrocket so dramatically through the 1900s? Today we're diving into the incredible journey of how these leaders became billionaires, what they do with their vast wealth, and I'll even reveal the secret behind their financial explosion. Buckle up as we travel back to the 1930s in Saudi Arabia, starting with an American geologist named Max Steiner who set the wheels in motion. Ready for a fascinating ride? Let's go. Max Steiner was an American geologist who moved to California in search of a job. Steiner lands one at a lumber mill in California, but it turns out to be a short-lived gig. Thankfully, one of his former professors noticed his remarkable potential and nudged him towards further studies. Steiner took the advice, and it was a game-changer for him. By 1917, Steiner was at Stanford University, immersing himself in advanced geology. He graduated in 1921 with an AB degree, and while he initially struggled to find oil in various places, fate had other plans. Fast forward to May 29, 1933, an agreement was struck between Saudi Arabia and Steiner's company for oil exploration. Steiner's team arrived in Saudi Arabia in 1936, and he was soon leading the charge as chief geologist. The team spent 2 years drilling in Dammam with no success, leading the company to consider pulling out. But Steiner wasn't ready to quit. He convinced the higher-ups to give one last shot at Dammam 7. And against the odds, in early March 1938, they struck oil. This wasn't just any oil discovery. By 1940, Saudi Arabia was churning out more than 12,000 barrels a day, bringing in about $30 million a month. Steiner's innovative approach, structural drilling, was a game-changer, and it didn't take long for neighboring countries to catch on. Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE all jumped on the oil bandwagon. Kuwait hit pay dirt in 1938, followed by Qatar in 1940 and the UAE in 1958. This surge in oil discoveries sparked an economic boom, with Saudi Arabia now controlling 15% of the world's oil reserves, raking in billions annually. So, where does all this wealth go? To the sheiks, of course. These leaders live in a world of opulence. Let's dive into their extravagant tastes. Vehicles are a big deal among them. Think billion-dollar car collections. For instance, Dubai's richest man, Sheikh Mohammed, flaunts a collection featuring a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a Bugatti Veyron, a Lamborghini Veneno, a Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, and an Aston Martin 177, among others. And if you think that's impressive, Saudi billionaire Turki bin Abdullah takes the crown with his $14 million gold-plated Rolls-Royce. Imagine not just owning a car collection, but also having palatial homes to house them. For the sheiks, their residences are more than just luxurious. They're architectural marvels. Take Zabil Palace in Dubai, for instance. This isn't just any palace. It's a staggering $2 billion masterpiece that sprawls across 14 hectares. It's the royal family's main residence and a venue for high-profile visits. For us mere mortals, though, it's off-limits. The security is so tight that anyone approaching would quickly be noticed and likely sent packing. But Zabil Palace isn't alone in its grandeur. Over in Abu Dhabi, the presidential palace shines with $500 million worth of marble, gold, and precious stones. It's a glittering testament to wealth, with every corner reflecting opulence. Imagine a place so luxurious that it outshines even the most extravagant sports cars parked outside. And speaking of extravagant, let's talk about the sheiks' seafaring toys. Their yachts are practically floating palaces, with one of the largest being the Dubai, owned by the Sheikh of Dubai. Valued at a cool $400 million, this yacht is so enormous it could fit over 50 mansions inside. It's not just a yacht. It's got a helipad, a submarine garage, and even a disco area for epic parties. But it's not all about flashy homes and yachts. The sheiks are also clever investors. Over the past 2 decades, they've made massive investments in soccer and esports. This trend is part of what's called sports washing, where investing in sports helps enhance a country's global image. And the sheiks have taken this to the next level, making headlines with their strategic moves in the sports world. was back in 2011, Qatari billionaire Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad took over Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, and the transformation has been nothing short of spectacular. With a flood of financial support, PSG has been able to attract top-tier talent like Mbappé, Neymar and Messi. Even though these stars have moved on, their time at PSG brought a huge spotlight to the club and its Qatari owners. However, not everyone is cheering for this success story. Just like with Manchester City, PSG's rapid rise hasn't been universally welcomed. Many local fans and European soccer enthusiasts view these high-profile investments with skepticism, often feeling that success should come from on-field performance rather than financial muscle. Do you think this disdain is due to jealousy, or do the critics have a point? Share your thoughts in the comments. Despite the mixed feelings about these soccer power plays, there's no denying that they've enriched the Sheikhs' coffers. But their quest for global influence goes beyond just buying teams. They're also making headlines by hosting major events. Take Qatar's hosting of the FIFA World Cup in 2022. With the World Cup being the most watched sporting event worldwide, it's a prime opportunity for any host nation to gain international attention and boost tourism. Qatar invested an eye-watering $220 billion to prepare for the World Cup, building new stadiums and upgrading infrastructure. However, despite the massive expenditure, the country didn't recoup the full amount, making less than $2 billion in revenue from the event. So why such a colossal spend? The key is in the long-term benefits. The new stadiums and facilities aren't just for one tournament, they're being repurposed into lasting assets like hotels and event spaces. This means that the infrastructure investments will continue to serve Qatar for years to come, bringing in ongoing revenue and further global exposure. By investing heavily in both soccer and major events, the Sheikhs are not only enhancing their personal wealth, but also making strategic moves to elevate their country's profiles on the world stage. Before the World Cup, Qatar was just a name on the map for me. But after seeing it featured on screens, it's clear how stunning its deserts and vibrant culture are. This exposure is likely to boost tourism significantly, bringing in substantial revenue for Qatar over the long term. So, you might wonder, why are the Sheikhs so invested in making even more money? It might sound like a strange question, but there's actually a hidden agenda behind their financial moves, which I'll unveil by the end of this video. But first, let's dive into their recent ventures into the esports world, an area where things are getting really exciting. Esports is booming with 234 million fans worldwide. For many, traditional sports are either inaccessible or less engaging, making gaming a more appealing option. The Sheikhs have recognized this surge and have been making strategic investments in esports teams for a crucial reason that I'll explain shortly. Take FaZe Clan, for instance, a powerhouse in esports. In 2022, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund invested millions in them, and even bought a stake in the team. Another notable team, 100 Thieves, has also received significant financial backing from Saudi sources, even though they aren't directly owned by a sheikh. This support plays a huge role in their success and operations. Shifting our focus from Saudi Arabia, let's take a look at how the United Arab Emirates, UAE, is making its mark in the esports scene with Team Nigma. The UAE has been actively sponsoring the team as part of a broader strategy to boost the local esports industry, which could have a significant economic impact on the country. But what's driving these sheikh-backed investments? In Saudi Arabia, there's a major initiative called Vision 2030, spearheaded by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. This ambitious project aims to diversify the country's income sources beyond oil. Investing in esports aligns perfectly with this vision, as it's part of a broader effort to expand and modernize the economy. The Public Investment Fund, a key element of Vision 2030, seeks to grow Saudi assets to a whopping $2 trillion. With esports on the rise, the potential for future returns is substantial, which explains the Sheikh's confidence in their investments. Meanwhile, the UAE has its own set of goals. One of the country's major ambitions is to establish itself as a global technology hub. The esports sector, brimming with digital innovations and computer entertainment, offers a gateway to cutting-edge technology. By investing in esports, the UAE not only positions itself at the forefront of technological advancement, but also attracts international tourists, similar to the boost Qatar received from hosting the World Cup. A notable aspect of esports is LAN events, where players compete in person rather than online. These events require a physical venue, which offers the UAE a chance to showcase its gaming infrastructure and attract global gaming enthusiasts. Hosting these high-profile events can draw in tourism and further bolster the UAE's economy. But what's the real reason behind all these investments? It might sound surprising, but the sheiks aren't just in it for the financial gain. The underlying goal is global influence. By investing in prominent sports and businesses, they're not only increasing their wealth but also enhancing their global presence. Collaborating with major organizations like FIFA expands their international reach, while their control over oil strengthens diplomatic ties with other countries. It's all part of a strategic move to elevate their status on the world stage. To sum it up, the sheiks aren't just chasing after staggering amounts of wealth. They're aiming for power across politics, culture, and global affairs. But why is this influence so crucial for them? Well, having significant influence means wielding considerable power. And with power comes a range of benefits, including, believe it or not, immunity from serious consequences like imprisonment. Sounds intriguing, right? For more fascinating insights, be sure to explore the other videos on this channel.